Good morning, beautiful people, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Today I wanted to talk about being steadfast. Many years ago, I would not have associated the word steadfast with spirituality. To me, steadfast represented those people in life who I would have called the steady eddies, people who just put their head down and focused on something. They were the hard workers, the grafters, not necessarily the creatives. But over the last few years, over the last few months, I've started to realize that being steadfast is an incredible gift, because focus is one of the most important things in life. Now, everyone talks about meditation as being the key to your spiritual flowering, your spiritual blossoming, for the shining of your brightest light. My personal feeling is that everyone has a different journey, a unique journey to get to the unflowering of their most beautiful parts. But even when it comes to meditation, being steadfast is an incredible gift, because having that focus, knowing what your goal is, knowing where you want to go, knowing that final destination point, and also knowing that no matter what comes in your way, no matter what obstacles, no matter what traumas, no matter what things start to break or shatter, if you know where you're going and you keep your eyes or you keep your heart focused on that place, then nothing will stop you from getting there. Now, those of you who think, yeah, but I'm the kind of person who's easily distracted, I'm the kind of person who's always taken away to do something different, or I need to have variety in my life, for the cocktail to have the perfect ingredients, for the meal of my dreams, for the feast of my life. But actually, if you look at all the most successful people in life, and I know the word successful is controversial in itself, but if you look for the spiritual lighthouses, for the people who everyone still talks about hundreds or thousands of years after they were here on this planet, these are people who had a very, very simple goal. People who weren't distracted by all the other things in the world. Yes, there might have been other things in their life, but ultimately they knew in their heart exactly where they needed to be. And nothing would stop them from getting there. Now, Jesus is a great example of this. His life was a life of pure love. And that was a combination of self-love. He had the confidence to love himself, but also all he wanted to do was bring love and light to everyone who was around him. Nothing would stop him. He was unwavering in his mission to get to where he wanted to go. And even what we would call the greatest challenge of all, which is death. And so many of us are spooked out by death, are scared to death, live in fear of death, of themselves and other people. But Jesus, even when other people around him were accusing him and turned their back on him, and even the moment when he was pinned to the cross with nails in his hands and his feet, body in great pain, even in that moment he looked around and he forgave everybody around him, because all that mattered in his life was that love he had for God. And even if that meant he was going to die, and he was going to die slowly and in pain, he was steadfast in all that he did. He was unwavering. He was unshakable. His belief was always there to the absolute bitter or beautiful end, however you want to see it. He was prepared to die for the thing that he believed in. And I'm not saying this as a preach of Christianity. I'm simply looking at this being, this soul, Jesus, as someone who believed in one thing and how nothing could deter him from getting to that final destination point that he'd always dreamed of. Steadfastness also reminds me of the story, that famous race between the tortoise and the hare. The hare was so confident of winning that race that he even stopped and had the arrogance to have a sleep in the middle of the race. And yet the tortoise continued to move so slowly, but without ever stopping, until he finally won the race because he passed the hare who was still sleeping. Now, the moral of that story is that by doing things slowly and steadily, consistently, persistently, unshakably, unflinchingly, rather than acting quickly and carelessly, arrogantly, you can get to that place you want to go to. Because being steadfast isn't about being quick. It's not about racing to that point of enlightenment. It's not about always trying to put your foot down in the car so you can get to that place earlier. It's not about getting your book published even though perhaps you're still not 100% happy with the story. It's not about making a big noise about all that you're doing, shouting from the rooftops that yours is the greatest. No. Being steadfast is about having a goal, having a mission, honouring your values, honouring your beliefs, following your dream to the absolute core and trying to take the most direct route, but it doesn't have to be the fastest route. It's about remaining aware as you go on that mission. It's about being loyal to yourself. It's not about taking other people out en route to make sure that you get there first. It's about believing in yourself. And when I think of steadfastness, I'm thinking about the trees. A tree starts off as this tiny seed, this tiny acorn, but within that acorn, within that seed, is the knowledge and the wisdom that one day they will become a mighty oak or a mighty tree. And even when a tree becomes a mighty oak, again, it grows its roots so deep. All it ever wants to be is itself. It doesn't try and become anything else. It doesn't try and change to look like the tree that's facing it, or the beautiful flower that might sprout next to it. It doesn't try and change because different animals come in it and start gnawing away at it. Its ultimate goal is just to be. It doesn't even try and stay alive. It just accepts the rain, the sun, the elements, the animals, the chainsaws. And it was Aristotle who said that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an event. It's not a coincidence. It's a habit. And if we apply this steadfastness, this belief pattern to your life, then what is your life mission? Do you know what your life mission is? Do you have that ultimate goal? Now, I know life isn't about goal setting, it's about being, it's about living in the moment. But at the same time, where would you ideally be? How can you apply your most unique set of skills to become the ultimate version of yourself? And a lot of people try all sorts of different projects in life. And then after a few weeks they get bored of it and they move on. Or after a few months they're not as good at it as they hoped they'd be. So many times I've seen people take up the guitar and the pain they find in their fingers in the first few weeks is just too much. The fact that they can't play a Beatles song after 2 months means that they're disappointed. And yet if they'd have been steadfast, if they'd have just every day done 10 minutes of guitar, and if they'd done that over 1,000 days, there's no doubt they could play that Beatles song. And the same could apply for your business. Perhaps you're dreaming of setting up a yoga class or meditation business, or a business which is outside the spiritual realm, where you just want to bring your light to other people's worlds, but in the thing that you know best. And the best way to do that is to just practice it every single day. Maybe that's poetry, or maybe that's writing, or maybe it's gardening, or maybe it's painting. And you know that if you do that every single day, that you will get better. And the beautiful thing is, if you have that final goal, almost that vision of exactly where you want to be, then every day you can get closer and closer to that beautiful vision. The other area where I really see people struggling is exercise and fitness. They have it in their heads. Maybe it's around Christmas time after eating so much, or after Thanksgiving, or after Easter, or after the holiday, or after lockdown, and they've put on a little bit of weight because they've had a bit of fun and they've been around the family and they've eaten lots of beautiful home-cooked foods, and suddenly they have this desire to lose the weight that they feel like they need to lose. And the best way to do this is to do 20 minutes of exercise every day. And they start for the first week and they're brilliant. And then one day they'll get distracted, or they won't do it, or they're not feeling quite as energetic. They've got something else to do. And then they lose that rhythm, they lose that pattern. And then suddenly they don't do anything else. And they've bought all the equipment, they've bought the gym pass, or they've bought all the kit that they need to wear. And all those 7 days of doing absolutely everything are suddenly dissolved into nothingness. And this is about mental discipline. This is about focus. This is about seeing that final vision of where you want to be. And it's also about desire. It's about how much do you want to be that painter? How much do you want to be that fit, healthy person? How much do you want to be that guitar player? How far would you go to become spiritually enlightened? Are you willing to put another brick on the wall every single day to allow yourself to be in that space of love? Because highly successful people, or steadfast people, are people who are incredibly consistent. They understand that there are certain things that they've got to do every single day. And if they do those things, there is a very high rate of return on their time. And many people seem to underestimate what they can accomplish in a day and over-exaggerate what can happen over time. Steadfastness keeps us disciplined to do those daily tasks. Begin today to do those things that you know that you should do, to embrace the values that you know you should be embracing. And it was Patanjali who said that when you're steadfast in your abstention of thoughts of harm directed toward yourself and others, suddenly all living creatures will cease to feel fear in your presence. Being steadfast means that you never slip. Let those thoughts of judgment, worry, hatred directed towards you or anyone else just dissolve and have that incredible focus on where you need to be. Like a flower singularly defined, knowing exactly what she is, that she's not meant to be anything else. Jack of all trades, master of none. I think we need to flip that one round. Master of one trade. Know thyself. Put yourself around people that allow you to be a better person, who make you feel good, who make you laugh and remind you of what's important in life. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not incredible, that you're not miraculous, that you're not magnificent, that you're not unstoppable. Only put people around you who you know have 100% faith and love and support of your mission. And if those people aren't there, then just